lights out. Lights.
Christopher, I want to ask you something. Mrs. Gascoigne wondered if we would like to do a play this year.
I've loved this show ever since I saw it on Broadway, similar to Lisa. I'm thinking about the time that I saw it, and I feel like if I didn't see it the same day that she saw it, I saw it within a few days, because I was in New York at that same time, and I saw the show. And I remember I went to do the student rush tickets, which is where you can purchase tickets for like $30 or something instead of spending like $150. And I woke up at like 4:30 or 5 and went down there to get in line, and I was like third in line. There were already people there. But I remember walking through Times Square, and it was just empty. There wasn't anyone there, because stuff in Times Square does actually close at some point, I guess. And I didn't expect that, but it was just so quiet, and I wasn't prepared for it. And I was like, this day is very, like, because I've always wanted to go to New York. And I went and I got in line for my ticket, and I got my ticket, and then I put it in my pocket, and I forgot. And I was over at my friend's hotel room, and we were all just talking, and they were like, aren't you going to see a show or something? And I look at my phone, and it is, it's like 6:45, and the show's at 7, I think. And I'm like 7 blocks away. But like long New York blocks, not the short ones. And so I'm sprinting down down Broadway to the theater, because I'm like, I have to see this show. This is like, we were leaving the next day. I couldn't see it later. I had to see it. And I because I'd heard so many good things, and I ran and I got to the theater at like 6:58 or something, you know, and I got in and I got to my seat, and they put the rush tickets like kind of there in the front rows on the sides, and so I was like 5 feet from the stage, and I sit down and I'm just like panting, like I'm exhausted, and then it starts, and it starts very abruptly, like with the strobe effect and everything, and I was just enthralled the whole time, because I'd never seen anything like it. I'd always gone to see musicals and things, but plays didn't come to touring through where I was. It was always big musicals, The Wizard of Oz and Wicked and things like that. And this was just miles beyond what I had ever seen before, and then I just became like enthralled with this show, and I was looking up things online about it, videos, just to see more of it after I got back home to Arkansas. And I remember kind of at the beginning of this school year, I was talking to my roommate, and I was like, we were just talking about plays and stuff, and I was like, man, I have to do The Curious Incident sometime. Like, I don't know when, but I feel like I have to do it. And then the National Theater Live does like shows recordings, you know, and they were doing it at OCCC, I think, and I went to go see it there, and I was like, wow. And then it was literally like that night maybe, or the day after, someone was like, they're doing this show in Oklahoma City, and I was like, you're kidding me. And I freaked out, and I went to sign up, but all the sign-ups were like full, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? And I emailed them, and I was like, is there any way? And he was like, I think it was Sheridan who I talked to. He was like, I'm about to open up a few more spots. And I was like, absolutely incredible. That's great. And I signed up, and I went to the audition, and I don't know, it just felt right. And it was like, and then at the callback I was like, you know, it's just like sometimes you just want something so bad, and then you get it, and it's just like magic. And I've just been so connected to the story for so long. I just felt like it was a story I needed to tell, and I'm excited I get to tell it now.
Dawn, can you give us a little bit of an overview of the story and why you think it's important to tell?
Curious Incident of the Dog of the Nighttime was an international best-selling novel. It obviously touched a chord with people from its birth, from its first creative inception. And the play has been similarly greeted. the National Theater Live, which, by the way, CityRep brought to Oklahoma City. I'm really glad you go to those. Good job. The National Theater Live broadcast was of the original production, which was done at the Cottesloe, the small theater in the round at the National Theater. And seeing it in that context was very interesting. It was very minimal staging, although tremendous high-tech staging, but it was in the round, so much less than the manifestation later on Broadway, where they put it on a proscenium stage and it had a lot more bells and whistles, technically, which still aided in things. But the point is that at the heart of the play, at the heart of the story, even in the novel, before it was a play, but for our purposes, the play particularly, it's a really simple story about understanding the different ways that different characters perceive the world, especially understanding how Christopher perceives the world in ways that are different from many of us. We get a glimpse into how Christopher views the world through this play. It expands understanding in that way. It's brilliantly simple, and then on top of it, it has a beautifully complex stagecraft, which is why we have an outstanding director like Jerome Stevenson and Hee-Cha doing all of our movement, because the movement is quite complex. I think it's fair to say. It's got a lot of movement in it, and it has a lot of stagecraft in it. Our design elements, Ben Hall did the set, and Adam Chamberlain is coming in from out of state to do the lighting and the projection design. It's a great deal of complexity, and Steve Emerson, world's greatest stage manager, is also an outstanding sound designer, and he's doing the sound design for the play. So it functions on so many different levels as a story in terms of spreading understanding in the positive sense of the story that it tells, in terms of the tremendous complexity and excitement that comes with the stagecraft. It's a challenge to meet that level that it requires, but it's fun to do. This is, as I said to you earlier, this is really one of the most acclaimed plays of the last decade. I got the feeling about this play with that little artistic feeling that you get in the back of your neck that I get when it's a really great play. It's the same feeling I got when I saw August Osage County, and you went, oh, this isn't just a good play this year. This is like one of the best plays in many years. And the same thing with this one. And it's proven to be true. Now, we're a little ahead of the curve in producing it, but I think that next year it will be one of the most produced new plays in America. And one of the other ones will probably be A Doll's House Part 2.
So this is the regional premiere of the play. So tell people a little bit about what the play is about, if they've not had a chance to see it yet. Which obviously, a lot of people haven't.
Well, the young man, Christopher, is differently abled, and we deduce that he is somewhere on the autism spectrum, and we both see how he functions and understands the world, and we also see in ways that sometimes even his character does not see how his differences impact and challenge his family. The play starts when he finds his neighbor's dog dead in the yard one night. That is the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime. And he tries to find out what happened to the dog. Through the course of that, we watch him grow, we watch him learn to navigate through a world that is not always built for his sensibilities. We also see how his differences have impacted and continue to impact his family. And we see how he meets challenges through amazing persistence. And though differently abled, he is extremely abled. There's one simple moment in that where he's trying to find a train station, and the lady says to him, "It's right over there, see the thing." He can't deduce in the normal way how to go to the thing that he can see. However, through rigid mathematical thinking, he understands that if he continues to travel and turn right block after block, he will eventually come to it with mathematical certainty. And so he overcomes the problem and does that. And you watch him do that thing that is so effortless for us, and he achieves it through great courage and persistence and effort. And through that, the play is very moving. The last line of the play is when he turns to his teacher and says, "Does this mean I can do anything?" Blackout.
So tell us whenever people can see it and where they can see it and how they can get more information.
Now, the play is playing at the Freedy Little Theater at the Civic Center Music Hall, our regular home for City Rep, and performances are Thursday, April 4th through Sunday, April 7th. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night at 7:30. Saturday there's a matinee at 1:30, and Sunday there's a matinee at 1:30. And for tickets, they can just go to CityRep.com, or they can call the CityRep box office. That number is 848-3761, or they can go to the Civic Center box office, call them, or go online to the Civic Center. So you can get your tickets 24 hours a day online. Buy them now. We're selling really well. And I would like to mention one more thing. We are partnering on this play, as we often do, with plays that have issues that affect our larger community. And we are partnering in this case. We've reached out to Autism Oklahoma and the Oklahoma Autism Network. And we're working with both of them to try and make sure that we spread awareness as widely as we can. And they will both be represented in the lobby. And I'm working now to see if we might possibly also have post-show talkbacks, so that we can further inform audiences and answer their questions and help to further understanding.
I think that'll do. I want to